Jersey. The winner this evening is Peter Douglas of Farmingdale, New York. His question, how do they get post positions for each race? I notice some horses are always in the low bracket, others are in the high bracket. Well, if you notice horses that are always drawing on the outside and others on the inside, you're looking at a handicap race where the racing secretary assigns the post position. Normally, they are drawn by dropping 8 pills into a bottle, leather bottle, taking 8 slips at random, and as one judge pulls a slip out, another one takes a pill out of the bottle. And if you have the slip for Doc's fella and you pull out number 1 out of the bottle, he is number 1 in the post parade and, of course, post position. However, there's a lot more interesting things happen in the racing secretary's office, and let's take a look at that right now. This is the heartbeat of the racing operation. I'm in a racing secretary's office, and this, each morning, is where the races start. This is where the entries are made, where the racing secretary and his staff and the judges check the eligibility, and where the racing secretary ultimately puts the racing card together. Horsemen drop entries in a box in the lobby of the secretary's office 2 or 3 days before a race. At closing time for those entries, which is usually 9 o'clock in the morning, but can also be in the evening if the racing secretary wishes, the secretary and his assistant and the racing judges take those entries out of the boxes for examination and for checking. The slips are alphabetized for each race, and a cross-check is made to be certain that each horse is indeed eligible to the race in which the trainer has entered it. This check is a critical part of the entry process and is made against the racing secretary's records. If necessary, the judges or the racing secretary also can check the horse's eligibility papers, which must be in file in the secretary's office and which contain on one form all of the pertinent information about that horse's racing record for the season that could possibly be needed. A master list is then prepared, showing all of the horses in each race in alphabetical order. This list is typed by one of the racing secretary's staff and is returned to the racing secretary, who must decide which horses that have been entered will get the race. He does this by a check of when each horse last raced. This process is known as date preference. Those horses that have gone longest without a race are given preference over those that have raced more recently. The racing secretary has a file which tells exactly when a horse raced last and when it raced last before that. And the secretary and his assistant make a careful check.
7:14, 29, 22. Esperant. 7:14, 4 and 16. 7 and 17. Salome. 7:14, 4 and 17.
Once that is done, the horses are arranged in date preference order. Most tracks race fields of from 8 to 10 horses, and if there are more with the same date preference and can be raced in one race, some are drawn out of the race by lot, or the race may be split into divisions. There are 2 additional horses, also drawn by lot, that are also eligible to the race if any of the regular starters get sick or injured. The eligibility papers or racing records of the successful entries are then pulled from the file so the program department can compile the program for that racing card. Now you know where races come from, and next you'll find out who wins tonight's 8th race. First half of the late daily double coming up right after this.
Night Intruder, those 2 to the wire.
I'm always a winner with my Trotters and Paces Sports Watch, a great gift idea and a favorite with racing fans. The Sports Watch is a fascinating timepiece with a beautifully detailed pacer magically replacing the second hand. With a 17-jewel Swiss-made movement and a 1-year limited warranty, this handicapper's dream can be yours if you act now.
For information, call 201-679-8068. Makes a great holiday gift.
Here's the 8th race, first half of the late double. The 2 horses closest to the rail are the favorites. 1, letter A, Joss, with Ted Wings, 5-2. 2B, Timber Jazz, is the favorite at 2-1. And the long shot is 6, letter F, Oil Victory, with Dan Warrington at 30-1. And here is Bob Meyer with the call.
They're off. Jostle on the inside tries for the lead. Dr. Cassoni, the center track, second. Timber Jazz towards the inside, third. Field Skipper, fourth. Cherish Bowl, the outside, fifth. Chamber Cat, sixth. Oil Victory, seventh. Hot Commodities, eighth. Around the turn, down the backstretch. Joss in front by a length. Cherish Bowl, the outside, second to challenge. Timber Jazz on the rail, third. Straining out down the backstretch. Cherish Bowl on the outside gets the lead. Joss on the rail back for second. Timber Jazz up on the outside third and moving up. Gap of 3 lengths. Field skipper fourth. Dr. Gersoni fifth. Quarter time is 29 and 4. At the paddock turn the first time, Timber Jazz takes over the lead by 2 lengths. Joss the outside second. Cherish Bow on the rail third. Gap of 2 lengths. Field skipper fourth. Dr. Gersoni fifth. Chamber Cat the outside sixth. 2 lengths back to Oil Victory seventh and Hot Commodities eighth. As they come out the stands the first time, Timber Jazz on top by a length. Joss drops in second. Gap of 2 lengths. Cherish Bow on the rail third. Field skipper underway on the outside fourth. Dr. Gersoni moves right with him fifth. Halftime, 1 minute, 1/5. Around the clubhouse turn the second time. Timber Jazz shows the way by a length. Joss second. Field skipper the outside third. Cherish Bow on the rail fourth. Dr. Gersoni fifth. Chamber Cat sixth. Oil Victory seventh. And Hot Commodities eighth. Down the back stretch, Timber Jazz on top by a length and a half. Joss on the rail second. Field skipper alongside third. Cherish Bow along the inside fourth. Dr. Gersoni the outside fifth. Chamber Cat the far outside sixth. Approaching the 3/4 pole, Field skipper on the outside moves for the lead. Timber Jazz second. 3/4, 1:31 and 3. Around the far turn, Field skipper has the lead by a length and a half. Dr. Gersoni the outside second. Chamber Cat the far outside third. Timber Jazz on the rail fourth. Joss moves to the outside fifth. They come the top of the stretch. Field skipper on the inside leads by a half length. Dr. Gersoni down the center track. Chamber Cat third. Through the stretch, Field skipper. And on the far outside, Chamber Cat with Dr. Gersoni. Chamber Cat coming on.
Coming on from third in the stretch, it was number 5, OTB letter E, Chamber Cat, part owned by Nick Sedano, who also trains his 3-year-old son of Silent Majority. Nick Sedano, the Stepping Stone Stable in Bombanci of New York, the owners. Jerry Sarama drive as number 5, OTB letter E. Chamber Cat returns $13, $7.20 and $3.40. 4D, Dr. Gersoni was second, $13.20, $3.20 and $3C. Field skipper third, $4.60 to show. Exacta 5 and 4. E&D returns $137.